Good evening. It's Friday, July 29th, 2022. And I went on vacation, so I haven't had any Zooms lately. And I'm getting back on doing the Zooms. I think it's really important to read definitions and to read some of the titles that maybe would include us. So what I'd like to do is share my screen and let's get into it. Let's see. Let's find out how to research first. So the first thing that we'd want to do is, let's see, make sure that we're actually sharing the screen. You are screen sharing. So I just want to make sure that I am sharing the actual screen that I'm reading. It's really important because many times I've watched videos, mine and others, and they're not even sharing what's on the page. So I want to make sure that if you're going to be reading anything that would help the collective, that learn how to use the screen sharing and make sure that you're actually sharing the screen. And unfortunately, sometimes the Zoom program isn't really letting us know which page we're sharing. So I don't necessarily go on putting a whole bunch of pages on there because I don't know sometimes which screen I'm sharing. So I'm just starting from scratch. But one of the things that I was watching a video from a lady named Tamra T. Bush, and she was talking about repairing your credit. I really liked what she had to say. So I want to see if we can learn how to duplicate what she's sharing. Basically, she's going on the US code about credit reporting agencies. Let's just pick one. There's one I can go to, 15 US code 1681. This is Congressional findings and statement. Let's just go to that one first. And then there's a subchapter 3. So we're going to click on that, wait for our computer to upload that, and then we're going to read it. This is nice and large, so this is great. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get through some of this. So this right here lets us know, this is legal information, by the way, and I'm not a lawyer, by the way, and I don't give any legal advice. I'm just here reading. I'm just like you. We're just reading and trying to learn the best we can and to share the information that we're learning. So 15 U.S. Code 1681, Congressional findings, Congress, and statement of purpose. Let's find out what that's all about, okay? It might be a little boring to read this, but I think it's important to know sometimes the directions. Let's see. A, accuracy and fairness of credit reportings. Oh, do you think that you've maybe gotten a ding on your credit and it's not fair? Let's see what this says here. They want to make sure that it's accurate and fair. Just sometimes when you check your credit report, it has somebody else's address and you've never lived there before. Maybe one of your kids or someone that you knew who lived with you moved to another place. On your credit report, did it happen to have a certain address that you never lived at, but you know that someone might have lived there? Well, that's incorrect. So that has to be fixed and repaired. And so what I think is important for us to do is once we learn some of these things that we're going to be reading here, then the next part would be up to us to do the action. So the action that we're going to take is we're either going to contact those creditors or so-called, lenders or car dealerships, tell them to take our stuff off. Usually we have to do it by writing. So you can call them, get the address, and then write them. The other way you can do it is to go to the credit reporting agency and do a dispute. So I really like that Tamra T. Bush. So check out her channel because she has some very interesting information that says something about 48 hours having everything repaired. That sounds really good to me. So I'm going to watch her video a few more times, but I'm going to try to duplicate what she did by going to the actual code so that you and I can get used to doing this and check on things ourselves. We don't want to just believe people, although she's great. She goes straight to the source. We also want to go straight to the source too. But this is just strengthening our discipline. When we learn something, we have to disciple or discipline ourselves to be able to produce the same thing. It's very scientific. If it's duplicatable and we can prove it as well, then hey, that's good. That's science. So let's do this. So A, accuracy and fairness of credit reporting. The Congress makes the following findings. Number one, the banking system is dependent upon fair and accurate credit reporting. Inaccurate credit reports directly impair the efficiency of the banking system, and unfair credit reporting methods undermine the public confidence, which is essential to the continued functioning of the banking system. Let's push on this word credit. You know, when it's blue hyperlinked like that, you can press on that, get your mouse, and you can look to see what that says. 5, credit and creditor. The term credit and creditor have the same meanings as in section 1691A of this title. So let's get our pens out. Just happen to have a purple marker here. Let's write down 1691A so that we can eventually go to visit that. So I'm going to use the back arrow and get back. I hope that I was sharing that screen. I might not have been, but hopefully you'll be able to see this one that I'm reading right here. So 2, an elaborate mechanism has been developed, that's for sure, huh? For investigating and evaluating the credit worthiness, credit standing, credit capacity, character, and general reputation of consumers. That would be us. So here it is. Let's just push on the word consumer just to see what it says. The term consumer means an individual. Okay. So, consumer and individual reporting agencies have assumed a vital role in assembling and evaluating consumer credit and other information on consumers. Hi, do I have a visitor here? Carmen! Oh my gosh, you're so awesome. I love you, Carmen. I want to talk with you. Excuse me. Excuse me, I had to turn my fan on because it's a little hot up here. And then I sneezed, so excuse me. So we're reading right now from Cornell Law School. We're reading just to get the gist of what's Congress saying about consumer reports and those credit agencies. So I'm going to be working on contacting the credit agencies so that I can make sure that there's accuracy, so that there's not someone else's address that I've never lived at. Make sure that they take off any of those outstanding type of loans, or even reporting, like for instance, I had a short sale 10 years ago. That is on there still. And you know, it's amazing because you would think that when you're doing a short sale that you don't have bad remarks on there for more than 10 years. Like I remember hearing if you did a bankruptcy that you have bad credit for like 10 years or something like that. But my credit is good right now in the 700s. It could be better. So I'm going to make sure that I find out what this says here legalese wise, find out the definitions, then I can have some type of understanding about what my rights are. So right here, 4, there is a need to ensure that consumer reporting agencies exercise their grave responsibilities with fairness. Fairness, impartiality, hey, and a respect for the consumer's right to privacy. Wait just 1 second here, because it's funny to me that if our private information is being put out there, then right now, that right there shows me that there's a violation right there, because that's not private. If other companies are sharing information about us and our credit score or what happened in our credit worthiness, that's not really me having my privacy, right? So right then and there, that's something that we can go to those credit agencies and say that our rights are being violated. Oh, and I did mention Tamra T. Bush is teaching this and going over this as well. I really like her channel. So let's look at B, reasonable procedures. Hey, here's some reasonable procedures. Let's find out what we can do about this. It is the purpose of this subchapter to require that consumer reporting agencies adopt reasonable procedures for meeting the needs of commerce for consumer credit, personnel, insurance, and other information in a manner which is fair and equitable to the consumer. That would be us. Hey, is it fair and equitable if there's really no debts? I mean, if we can't pay the debts because there's no money from HJR 192 and Public Law 7310, how is that fair and equitable that if we can't pay those debts, then they report us to those 3 credit agencies? Huh? It's not fair and it's not equitable. So right here, this is that violation to our rights as the consumer. Oh, and right here too, with regard to the confidentiality. Hey, I did not give you guys permission to share my stuff. I'm just saying that's not confidentiality. Oh, and then accuracy. You know, like I said, if there's some things that are wrong on there, then these things need to be taken off. Relevancy and proper utilization of such information, because it's all about information in this age, right? Information is the new money, isn't it? In accordance with the requirements of this subchapter. So that's kind of interesting. And we can, you know, like I said, you can go here to yourself on Cornell Law to look up the legal information and just read it. All I did was put it in my address bar up on the top, and then 15 U.S. Code 1681, Congressional Findings and Statement of Purpose. So Congress has just given us the statement of purpose to say that it's all fair and equitable for us, and that they want us to, you know, depend upon the credit and banking system and get rid of unfair credit reporting methods and stuff that would undermine our trust, right? So this is good to know that Congress is backing us up, okay? So that's something that I wanted to share briefly until some people started to join us. Hey, Carmen, are you able to talk? You want to unmute? Would you like to share anything? I love it when the different ones come on here. Sometimes we get a special interview. I don't know. Are you able to unmute, Carmen? Are you interested in talking with me? Are you there? Can you hear me? I'm going to go over here to the notes just for a second. There's a little area that says US code, and then there's notes. I just want to see these notes really quick. So these are statutory notes and related subsidiaries. Okay, so here's some notes for the states, and they're related to what we just read. So there's Public Law 108, 159, December 4th, 2003, 115, Statute 1953. Ugh. Provided that except as otherwise specifically provided in this act, see short title of 2003 amendment note set out under section 1601 of this title and the amendments made by this act. Number 1, before the end of the second month period beginning on the date of enactment of this act, December 4th, 2003, the board and the commission shall jointly prescribe regulations in final form, establishing effective dates for each provision of this act. And 2, the regulations prescribed under paragraph 1 shall establish effective dates that are as early as possible, while allowing a reasonable time for the implementation of the provisions of this act. But in no case shall any such effective date be later than 10 months after the date of issuance of such regulations in final form. I noticed that sometimes, when a president is a new president or something, and then they pass a certain act, it doesn't seem like it happens right away. It seems like it starts happening like months or years later even. And it's probably because they have to meet and set up dates or something when it's going to be happening. But it says right here, before the end of the 2-month period, beginning on the date of enactment of the act, they shall jointly prescribe regulations in final form. So I guess you're giving them a little bit of a leeway, to figure out how to do this certain act or what have you. That's what this is under the notes. And this is just extra notes here. So right here, for final rules adopted by Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System and Federal Trade Commission, establishing effective dates for provisions of Public Law 108 through 159 and C68 FR 74467 joint interim final rules. It sounds so boring, but if we have the time, if you ever decide to go on here and click on it, you can read it. But I know it sounds so boring. Public Law 90. Hey, I've heard something like that before. Effective date is added by Public Law 91. Title, what is that? Title 6, 1970. It says, provided that Title 6 enacting the subchapter takes effect upon the expiration of 180 days following the date of its enactment. Short title. This subchapter, known as the Fair Credit Reporting Act, see short title, note, set out under section 1601 of this title. Let's click on this Fair Credit Reporting Act to see what it says. Fair Credit Reporting Act. Here we go. This says laws acquire popular names as they make their way through Congress. Sometimes these names say something about the substance of the law, as with the 2002 Winter Olympic Commemorative Coin Act. Sometimes they are a way of recognizing or honoring the sponsor or creator of a particular law, as with the Taft-Hartley Act. And sometimes they are meant to garner political support for a law by giving it a catchy name, as with the USA Patriot Act or the Take Pride in America Act, or by invoking public outrage or sympathy, as with any number of laws named for victims of crimes. History books, newspapers, and other sources use a popular name to refer to these laws. Why can't these popular names easily be found in the U.S. Code? Well, here's how the U.S. Code is built. The United States Code is meant to be an organized, logical compilation of the laws passed by Congress. At its top level, it divides the world of legislation into 50 topically organized titles, and each title is further subdivided into any number of logical subtopics. In theory, any law or individual provisions within any law passed by Congress should be classifiable into one or more slots in the framework of the code. On the other hand, legislation often contains bundles of topically unrelated provisions that collectively respond to a particular public need or problem. A farm bill, for instance, might contain provisions that affect the tax status of farmers, their management of land or treatment of the environment, a system of price limits or supports, and so on. Each of these individual provisions would logically belong in a different place in the code. Of course, this isn't always the case. Some legislation deals with a fairly narrow range of related concerns. Kind of reminds me of like when you go to the library or something and they have, you know, they have like rows and rows and bookshelves of a lot of different kinds of books, but they have to put them in a certain spot. Or even when you go to the grocery store, you got the bread aisle, the meat aisle, the produce aisle. So they're basically kind of like that. So the USC codes are just a way to organize the different laws so that you can find them. So here's the last paragraph that I'm going to read. The process of incorporating a newly passed piece of legislation into the code is known as classification, essentially a process of deciding where in the logical organization of the code the various parts of the particular law belong. Sometimes classification is easy. The law can be written with the code in mind and might specifically amend, extend, or repeal particular chunks of the existing code, making it no great challenge to figure out how to classify its various parts. And as we said before, a particular law might be narrow in focus, making it both simple and sensible to move it wholesale into a particular slot in the code. But this is not normally the case, and often different provisions of the law will logically belong in different scattered locations in the code. As a result, often the law will not be found in one place, neatly identified by its popular name, nor will a full text search of the code necessarily reveal where all the pieces have been scattered. Instead, those who classify laws into the code typically leave a note explaining how a particular law has been classified into the code. It is usually found in the notes section, that's what we're reading right now, attached to a relevant section of the code, usually under a paragraph identified as the short title. So that's kind of interesting to note. Hey, Carmen, are you interested in coming on and talking about anything? Are you there? Are you able to hook up your computer for the voice and unmute? Let me know if you're interested, because I'd love to pick your brain. I love it when I get professionals on here and we can talk about some of the things that we're going over. Well, I just wanted to show you guys that it is really easy to go up into your address bar and put in law.cornell.edu. And if you are studying something in particular or wanting to find out about a certain topic, you can go to the US code and read what that's all about. Yeah, it is a little bit legalese, which means kind of boring, but sometimes it's helpful. Hey, Carmen.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Awesome.
Hey. Good. Good. Yes, ma'am.
So I was kind of just glossing over how to do a little research if anybody wanted to look at the law for themselves. And we were looking into some Fair Credit Reporting Act. And I also
Oh yeah, that's a
there's Tamra.
yeah.
She goes over this kind of stuff too. So check out her channel.
That's a biggie because I wrote a book on credit.
Did you? Wow.
Yes, I did.
That's fantastic.
There's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that people don't understand and need to know. All that work that they be putting in to clear up their credit. One thing that they don't know is that there's two different credit reports. There's a consumer report, which is the one that the credit bureaus give all the consumers when they request a copy. But the creditors actually receive a completely different credit report that has more information on it. And if you don't know these laws, here you are thinking you're cleaning up your credit, but it never disappears off your report. Because anytime a person applies to anything that is over $150,000, everything shows up on your credit report. Everything that you have done, but the consumer will never see it. That's why when you apply for a car or a credit card or anything else, they will never show you the credit report that they get.
Oh, that's interesting.
So nothing never falls off. So don't let those credit bureaus fool you when they say that after 7 years it comes off. What it does is that they just never report it anymore, but it's there. Because anytime you apply for anything over $150,000, it shows up when the creditors pull your credit.
Yep, because I seen my short sale, and it's been over 10 years, and I seen mine on my credit report.
Yeah, but we're going to fix that, though. We going to fix that for you.
Yes, I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that. I told my mom, I said, yes, Carmen's going to help me.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So I was just wondering if I could pick your brain for my little channel here for the people that might want to watch. What are some of the things, because you are a professional, you do everything, CPA, and you're a loan broker and real estate and all these types of things. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to probably want to know more information. I don't know if you have a website or anything, or if you are interested in taking any new clients or anything, but maybe you could tell us about your book or how we can get it so that we can learn about our credit and how to repair things.
Well, actually, I wrote the book back in 2010. So there's a lot of things that changed, but then there's a lot of things that haven't, because the only thing that I've seen lately that's really changed is that, the credit bureaus try to get people to do the corrections online on their sites. You never use them because you have to understand how the system works, okay? And how the system works is that these creditors are paying a membership to the credit bureaus. So if they're paying a membership fee to be a member, who do you think the credit agencies work for?
Oh, wow.
Okay. And that's just how it is, because they charge the creditors a fee so that way they can get those the consumer's credit information reported on their sites. So if the creditors are paying the credit bureaus a fee or the credit agencies a fee, seriously, do you really think they're going to really work with you that hard to get the stuff off? They don't. And like I said, there's that one niche in that law. Anything you apply for over $150,000, everything shows up. Everything. Nothing disappears. Nothing gets deleted.
I'm taking some notes here. So what about the violation of our rights? Like I was just reading here what Congress was talking about in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and clearly our right of privacy was violated when they posted those things about our credit. So can't we go in there and ask them to remove it because it's a violation under that Fair Credit Reporting Act, and then mention that code that we just finished reading?
Well, let me put it to you like this. Okay, so everybody talks about privacy. Okay, now we all used to have privacy. Okay, we did, but look at the things that have come out and changed in the laws. one of the ways how we've lost a lot of our privacy goes back to 9/11. When 9/11 happened, what did Congress do? Congress passed that Patriot Act, okay?
Yeah.
Which allows business, because the government can never ask you for a lot of personal information, and they're really not supposed to look into personal information about you. But that's why they always contract with corporations and businesses. Why? Look at what they do. Every time you go to sign up with something, what do? They ask you for all your personal information, and people are so willingly give it up. So where is your privacy? Okay, you don't. And you also got to read these terms and conditions. Don't always check those boxes when you go to sign up for stuff. Take the time to read those terms and conditions, because those terms and conditions will tell you what they're doing with your information. And you need to know who actually owns these websites and these companies who we're dealing with. Okay, you really do. But see, people don't read, because everything is so microwave. Everybody wants it now. And that's why these businesses and corporations make these terms and conditions so long, because they know nobody's going to read them. But then look what they're doing. Like take, for instance, Google and Yahoo and all of them. I don't like them, but yet I use them. But yet look what they do. They ask you, well, if you sign up with us or if you register, okay, now we want access to, everybody who's in your email, everybody, who you're doing business with. And we're giving them that authority because we're accepting the terms and conditions. Same thing with your cell phone. Your cell phone wants to know, well, turn on your GPS, so we can know, or for you to use your mapping. Only turn on GPS when you're traveling. When you ain't traveling, what you gonna turn it on for? Why do they need to know where you are at all times? Okay, that's government tracking. But the government is not gonna tell you that, okay? But they have the contracts with these corporations, okay, and businesses. So people really need to understand, what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up your privacy for security? And that's the option that the government and these corporations give you. Security or privacy.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And yeah, go ahead.
I almost wonder if the corporations become the people, under, I don't know if it's executive orders that the president, when we had the emergency, to make the governors the people, and then they spoke for us, and then the governors made the heads of corporations the people, like Costco and the different ones. They made the rules of the mask wearing and such. But I'm wondering if that we're giving up our rights when we check the boxes and agree to the terms, to say that, like, the hospital, and you're signing up to be a patient, it's that we're giving up our rights, and that the doctor is the one that will have to sign us out when he says it's okay.
Right. And see, one thing I learned from attorneys, because I used to be a union rep too. So I learned a lot of good stuff. I even took law classes, okay? I know about a lot of things in the laws, and I'm gonna tell you, the stuff that I learned is very shocking, okay? I learned a lot, but see, that's why we have to be careful with everything that we actually do. Now, that's why I say, read the terms and conditions or any contract you sign, even if you're working as a contractor, going to a employment agency, okay? Read those contracts that you sign, because there's things that's in there that they tell you that they're going to pull specific information on you. that they don't need to, and you can actually cross it out and initial it, okay? Letting them know that you're not allowing them to do that. Now, granted, they'll say, well, if you don't let us do this, then we won't get you a job. So what? Get up and walk out, okay? You know, there's plenty of other agencies or companies to work for, you know, because they're like I said, they all just want to be in your business and they don't have to. You know what I mean? Because we're letting them we're giving up our privacy, and we have to stop giving them our privacy.
I noticed it on those legal forms when I got in a car accident and I ended up going to the chiropractor and then to the hospital. I lined out the word patient, like I wasn't going to be there, patient, and I lined that out. And then I did put beneficiary on the signature line. And I also put, I think it was settler as well. Like, here you go. Here's your money. I'm signing it right here.
Right. Exactly. You have to read it, understand what it's saying, what you don't like, and what information you don't want them to have. You just put a line through it, initial it, and keep it stepping. You know, because they want too much information. They do. And they don't need to have it. What do they need all that information on us for? All that shows you is that what? Just like some of these movies we watch, it shows you that then we're turning into one of those states where they're monitoring us, watching us, everything we do, okay, you know?
Exactly. Well, we have 6 minutes left on this particular Zoom. And what I like to do, if the person is in agreement, if they want to do another one on a different topic, we can get back on there too. But I know that you're in your area, it might be kind of late where you're at. So I don't want to, put you past your bedtime or anything. But if you have anything specific, I can give you the floor for 5 minutes here, and you can talk about whatever issue you can discuss that might be helpful to the people. Maybe something along the lines of who should be filling out those 1099s and who shouldn't, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, a lot of those, a lot of that stuff is not correct. Some of it is, but then they're not telling everything, probably because they don't know everything. Okay, you know, that's just like, since we're talking about credit reporting, okay, there's no such thing as a credit repair. The government will tell you there is no such thing as credit repair. You can call it credit restoring, okay, you know, but there's no such thing as credit repair. And if somebody, you have to understand, if you are in the business of providing a service, you are not supposed to ask for money up front, okay? You are not supposed to do that if you are a business that is providing a service. So all these people who they claim to be credit repair and ask for money up front, they better go back and read the law, because they're not supposed to do it. But they do it. And why do consumers, us as consumers, let them get away with it? Because we don't know the law.
Don't lawyers
do that? You're never supposed to pay.
Don't lawyers do that? Don't lawyers take some type of a, what do they call that thing? I don't know what they call it because I don't use lawyers, but don't they?
I know what you're talking about. They want you to put something similar down, like a down payment, or they make you pay, a little bit up front. Right. But see, when they go to put it into their books, they're not calling it that. They call it something else. They have a different name for it, right? Because they're not supposed to charge you. Anytime somebody's providing a service, you cannot charge somebody up front. They are supposed to pay you after that service has been completed. Okay, so that's why I say you got to read these terms and conditions, these contracts, and see what they say.
Oh, it's called a retainer. Like they want to straighten your teeth or something.
Yes. Yeah. See, even that's why they don't even ask you for the money up front. They don't. They tell you, we'll charge you. Like I talked to an attorney today about another situation, and they says, well, you know, our service fee is $7,500, but we're gonna charge you as we go along, as they provide the service. You see what I'm saying? So as they provide the service, they'll put you on a payment plan, and then you pay per service that they give you, right? Because they know they ain't supposed to do that. You're not supposed to charge an upfront fee. That's why people, I'm glad you're doing this with this credit repair. Don't pay them people up front.
Yeah,
That
I
is against
mentioned
the law.
that I saw a video with Tamra T. Bush, and I really like her and her information. She is basically just reading these things and letting us know that our rights are being violated. And I thought, well, I'm going to go
Yes,
and
they
look
are.
at myself too to double confirm this. And I'm reading it here on the channel on this video. And I thought, oh, she's right. It says that. I'm seeing it for myself. And I'm just showing other people how to go on there to look for themselves. And then this way, when we do talk to them, you know, we can have the things corrected for accuracy. Like, I never lived in that house. I never lived in that neighborhood before. That address is wrong. Take it off. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, I think we are the ones who have to
Right.
do it for ourselves. But yeah, Tamra T. Bush, everybody should follow her because she's got some excellent information on there. Do you have a web page or anything? Or a YouTube channel or anything? You said you're not.
Oh, girl, you know I told you I don't do that stuff. I have like business websites, but they're not like for the 1099 or nothing like that. You know, they're basically like for the real estate, helping people out and doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember I told you what the government be doing? I told you when I took them law classes. We're gonna have to go into detail about that, man.
Yeah, let's
So
do
you can
that.
let people know.
If you're interested, I would love to know more information. But we have about 1 minute left, so I can go ahead and end this. And if you want to, we can meet again on the same link, or you could even
Sure.
talk to me tomorrow. It's up to you. I don't know how late it is over there where you're at, and I'm not going to disclose your location. But let's go ahead and end this meeting and get back on again, and maybe you can talk about something that you just mentioned. Thank you so much for being
Okay. Sure. You're welcome.
See you on the next one. Just click on the same link. It should happen.
Okay.